We're looking at the latest polling averages from Real Clear Politics right now. When you average out the recent polls, it's a 7-point lead for Joe Biden, 3 points in the battleground states. Some of those polls have been tightening. The latest Fox News poll from Wisconsin shows Biden still up by several points there. Time to talk with our panel now on this Labor Day weekend, which typically marks the real start of election season. Joining us today, Rima Shahid, Mike Murphy, Robin Winston, Tony Samuel. Let's start with Rima, who's with Women for Change Indiana. As you look at those polls, obviously the pandemic, the economy still top of mind for a lot of people. But we also saw both candidates in Kenosha this week and a lot of other news that each side is trying to seize on, right? The House Speaker's haircut, for one, now this story in the Atlantic that could be pretty unflattering for the president. What do you think most voters are actually focused on right now?
I think if 2016 taught us anything, it's not to pay as much attention to the polls and pay more attention to actually getting people to the polls. What we know is that Indiana continues to rank at the bottom in the states as far as voter participation is concerned. So I'd like to spend less money on pollsters and polling and more money getting people to the polls to actually get them mobilized and voting.
And certainly something a lot of people have been talking about in the midst of this pandemic as well. Tony, this story in the Atlantic, we saw the comments earlier there from Congressman Banks' office. Some have also noted sources in this story, if they want America at large to believe them, maybe should have gone on the record. Nonetheless, will this be damaging to the president?
No, it won't. Americans see through this kind of thing. This kind of thing's been happening for the whole 4 years. You know, you would see an anonymous sourced story in the Washington Post or the New York Times, and then CNN and others would pick it up, and it would turn out to be false. And that's what we've lived with. People now have, they're a lot smarter than Democrats and folks on the left give them credit for. The other thing that's behind this, you'll remember that at the RNC convention last week, probably the most moving speeches were from the parents of Kayla Mueller, who was kidnapped by ISIS in Iraq and raped and killed by ISIS, raped by Baghdadi. President Trump killed Baghdadi, and those parents of Kayla Mueller spoke to that, said how the Obama-Biden administration had let them down. If the Trump administration was there, this wouldn't have happened, and said that President Trump's team gave more empathy, and President Trump gave more empathy than the Obama-Biden administration. And it's so funny that this story comes out after that. You know, I remember when this happened in I think November of 2018, when President Trump made the trip to France for the 100th anniversary of World War I. There were two events. He couldn't make the first one because the rain was terrible and they couldn't work out the traffic situation driving for 2 hours. He made the second one. That's why he went over there. He would have never said this. And this story from the Atlantic, nobody said this back then. They're just looking for things because they know that the military voter and the military is behind President Trump, and so is law enforcement.
So, Robin, what do you make of the events of the last few days? So many different stories happening, really all at the same time. What do you think voters are focused on right now?
First, they're focused on COVID-19, wearing a mask, trying to deal with the fact that we've lost 186,000 people over something the president said was a hoax, over the fact that he said there's only one guy came in from Boston from a convention, over the fact that he mentioned 15 people were only going to be infected, over the fact that he said take disinfectant and drink bleach. I cannot let Tony's remarks go without countering them. Forget the Atlantic. We've got video of the president saying that John McCain, who was a war hero, who said, "Hold me hostage," when his dad was head of CINCPAT, could have been let go because his father was an admiral in charge of all of our Pacific forces, stayed there as a POW. We buried him about a year ago this past week, and he said he got shot out of the sky and was not a hero for his country. The same thing with Joe Kernan, who got shot out of the sky, was a POW. I guess he's not a hero for his country either. I guess he was also a sucker. So that isn't any rumor, Tony. That is him on video saying that at an open forum.
Mike, how do you see this? How do you see this controversy playing out here with 2 months till the election?
Well, I think if you hate Trump, you believe the Atlantic. If you love Trump, you think everybody's a liar except for Donald Trump. If you read Mary Trump's book, his comments, alleged comments at the in Europe and at Arlington are pretty consistent with his personality throughout life. She says he lives a life of fear and he cannot stand to have anybody one-up him. And because he dodged the draft, he fears the memory and the honor of the soldiers who died for their country. And so he has to put them down in order to make himself look good. Again, if you love Trump, you think it's all lies. If you hate Trump, you believe every word the Atlantic said.
Tony, is this going to have an impact on any Republicans? We did see Dr. Jennifer McCormick, who has stood against her party on a number of issues, tweeting about it, alluding to this. Will it move the needle for some Republicans at all?
I don't think it moves the needle any more than there are already anti-Trump Republicans. There have been. These are folks that were upset that he beat one of their 16 candidates and that he was draining the swamp. And a lot of these folks were relying on political jobs that they didn't get because he became president. So they never have come around. And you'll hear that message. But the truth is the American voter and a lot of blue collar Americans support President Trump. He is the law and order president, and that's another reason why this kind of thing is coming out. But listen, he's been endorsed by the Fraternal Order of the Police, the largest police union in the country. Just on Friday, he's been endorsed by the Milwaukee Police Department, the New York Police Department, the New York State police unions. Then this will continue, and that's what's scaring Democrats into coming up with these made-up stories.
Now, of course, there's a lot going on in the news. You mentioned some of the endorsements from police. We talked about Kenosha earlier. With everything going on, does it make it more difficult for local candidates at the statewide level, Rima, to try to focus on issues they've been prioritizing, like health care? Obviously, healthcare is pretty important in the midst of this pandemic, but at the national level, it seems like some of those policy conversations are certainly getting drowned out right now.
Well, I think that like to mention that we're right ahead of Labor Day, and right now the Senate, they will be on the floor talking about reasonable pregnancy accommodations, something that we've been advocating for here in Indiana, to make sure that Hoosier women have that adequate right to be in the workforce and stay in the workforce. And I think that's really important. I know that's something that Governor Holcomb has advocated for as well, a number of legislators, and I think that they would be smart to stay away from the misinformation coming many times out of Washington and this current administration, and focusing more on the needs of Hoosiers here in Indiana, which are growing.
Mike, Robin, you've both chaired a party at the state or the county level. Who would you rather be right now, 2 months until this election, briefly? Mike, I'll start with you.
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't normally say this, but I would rather be Trump. I think unfortunately, I think the Black Lives Matter movement, which has legitimate concerns, has been hijacked, at least in the news coverage, by the anarchists. And I think that it's going to backfire greatly on Biden, even though Biden's not causing it. It reminds me of the Vietnam War protests. Everybody thought Nixon would lose in '72, and the protest worked in his favor.
Quickly, Robin, last word for you. Who would you rather be right now?
I'd rather be Joe Biden, because this election is going to boil down to about 7 or 8 states, which every poll shows him leading in. When you're talking about people in Michigan that have been unemployed, you're talking about people that have lost $300 a week in subsidy for their unemployment. And think about this, right now in the middle of all this, the Senate is on vacation. So when you talk about making sure that things matter to the kitchen table, I'd rather be Joe Biden any day of the week.
Robin, Tony, Rima, Mike, thank you all so much. We appreciate it. We'll be right back with more right after this.